It hasn't been here for years, but months, does that count? So go ahead and call this episode re-release of Do Call It a Comeback a comeback. For new listeners, these are the comeback songs for some of our favorite artists after a hiatus from music. And if you've already heard this episode, perhaps do come back to listen again with fresh ears.
I certainly will. I loved it.
Thanks, Christine. And I really loved your pick. I hope our listeners will too.
I think they will. They have to.
Heck yeah. Hi, I'm Christina.
And I'm Christine. Welcome to Stereo Thematica.
Music is the heartbeat of our lives and the connective tissue of our friendship. Christine and I met at work in LA, but when I moved to Texas, we started a weekly challenge. Pick a song that fits a chosen theme.
This game opened us to new perspectives on each other and deepened our understanding of the songs that shape our lives. Each week, we recreate the magic of our song exchange on a broader scale.
Good afternoon, Christine.
Hey, how are you doing?
What if we just kept it
This
at
voice.
this level?
I think Thomas
NPR voice.
He wouldn't make us re-record it.
I wonder what the listeners would think.
Yeah.
It's been a pretty heavy week.
Yeah. How are you dealing with the sad, horrific times we're living in?
I'm compartmentalizing, but I went to a protest today in Houston. Today's June 14th, so I went to the No Kings protest in Houston, and it felt so good to be there with my fellow Houstonians and just peacefully protesting, which was, I think there was all this fear about rioting and whatever.
Yeah.
It was incredible just to see the community rise up. And I'm curious how you've been feeling considering you are in LA.
Really angry, sad, just unsettled, honestly. Yeah. A lot of people I know are going to protest today. I have a hard time at protests. Mm-hmm. It's just too much going on to actually do that. The last time I went to a protest was, I think, the Women's March in 2017. And it takes a lot out of me. It takes like a week to recover.
Yeah.
So instead, I donate money. I donated to Chirla.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. And LA Taco, actually, they put together a list of nonprofits that are doing immigration rights work if anyone wants to donate. And we'll share that in our show notes.
Good call. We definitely should. I didn't know about LA Taco, but yeah, I've been seeing some like direct mutual aid funds popping up, which it's just, I am so grateful that there's the easy opportunity, just like Venmo $20, like any opportunity I can. And I know that, I am privileged in being able to do that. But yeah, if you are curious about ways to get involved, like I think there's so many opportunities out there that don't involve giving money, or you can show up and chant.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's important.
Yeah, totally. I feel you because, like, you know how highly sensitive I am. Like, I almost immediately start crying when people start chanting.
Yeah.
And when I feel it, like when I start chanting, I can just feel it welling up in my voice. And I'm just like,
I know.
But I get over it, but it's like that initial just overwhelming feeling of emotion. And it's the community element too, but it's also just like a lot of rage and hurt coming out.
No, it's weird. It's weird to have those conflicting emotions because you feel like you are a part of something and then you think about why you are a part of something. And then that is just so horrifying.
We also lost two major musicians this week.
Yes.
Brian Wilson and Sly Stone.
Yep. And actually, One Song did a replay of one of their episodes with Sly Stone's daughter, who is Novena Carmel.
That's right, from KCRW.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool. So I didn't know that until this week.
Yeah, I actually didn't know somewhat recently either. It's a nice way to pay tribute to Sly Stone. And as far as Brian Wilson, go back to our episode.
Was that episode 6?
Is it?
I posted it on the Instagram.
Okay.
But if anyone is tuning in for the first time, or maybe they didn't make it through, we did do an early episode, The Siblings, to talk about Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys. And oh man, what two incredible artists, each in their own way. And it was really fascinating to me to see a lot of musicians, like even Paul McCartney being like, God Only Knows is the best song ever.
Yeah, wow.
And it's so rare, I think, to be able to see people pinpoint something like that. I don't know if I could do it, but
we can do it. Sometimes we do it.
Maybe that'll be our final episode.
Yes, exactly.
The best song ever.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for that, so.
Well, we have plenty of time.
True that. So this week, I want to talk a little bit about our theme, which is call it a comeback, or as I think I originally shared it with you, do call it a comeback in homage to Don't Call It a Comeback. You know,
Of
you
course.
picked up on that, I'm
Of
sure.
course, yes.
Yeah, I'm curious, when you thought comeback, what was your initial reaction?
Well, I'm not much of a comeback kid, but like Cher's Believe, obviously, 1998, that was a big deal.
Oh, that was a good one.
I know, right? I mean, that is iconic. I feel like that might be as iconic as they come.
God, you probably are right. Yeah. I remember that song so vividly. I think I was in like 4th or 5th grade when that came out.
I didn't even really like the song when it came out, but it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think it continues to be a big deal. So
like I think it's like gay clubs and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. And it's
that's
like
a really good comeback.
You kind of can't not sing along to it.
Oh,
when it
100%.
comes
Yeah.
But yeah, when you pitch it to me, like I do remember it took me a few days to settle in on my choice, and I think I narrowed it down to 2.
Nice. No, yeah, I remember you. I think you gave both of them in your response.
Probably.
Or maybe you just alluded to one of them. But I am also not a big comeback person. That's why I actually had just the artist who is my selection in mind for this. But I wanted to see what other people thought about musical comebacks. So I went to Reddit, trusty controversial old friend, to hear what some of the internet's biggest loudmouths had to say about musical comebacks. Yes. And trust me, like you can make yourself just go crazy on there. But sometimes it is fun. Anyway, they didn't disappoint. They highlighted Tina Turner, who had a huge solo career in her 40s after enduring years of abuse. Johnny Cash, who, after a battle with drug addiction, was dropped by his record label only to make a comeback in the 90s. And eventually, do you remember the iconic cover he did of the Nine Inch Nails' Hurt?
I really don't, no.
Oh, interesting. I feel like it blew up a little bit. Maybe it was just in like I don't know. It's like, I don't think I knew the Nine Inch Nails song Hurt before Johnny Cash covered it. So that might say something about, what kind of music I'm familiar with. But like I said, I just had one artist in mind when I picked this theme. And that's because earlier this year, a familiar name popped up in my Spotify release radar, which I actually love because sometimes I'm like not super clued into who's got new albums coming out. So it really helps me like, oh, so-and-so has a new album, whatever. But this was a musician I used to love in my teens and early 20s. His name is Ben Kweller, and he's a well-loved indie Texas singer-songwriter. I found out from doing my research for this episode, he was actually born in San Francisco, but he moved to Texas with his family when he was 1 year old. Are you familiar with that bumper? I just see it as a bumper sticker, but it's like, I wasn't born in Texas, but I got here as soon as I could.
I've never seen that. But I feel like if you're calling him a Texas singer-songwriter, it's helpful to know that he lived there most of his life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually learned, too, that he lived in New York for a while.
Oh.
I used to see him, he would play Austin City Limits, the music festival. I am like trying to figure out, I need to ask my sister. I feel like I saw him at the Texas Union Ballroom, which was like a music venue on campus one year. And I feel like it was like 2007 or something like that. And even during this time, he was living in New York, but I guess I didn't know all of that. But he was somebody who, when I was like a teenager, I just loved hearing his kind of, I don't even know how to describe his voice. It's like, this is not a diss whatsoever, but it's like a little nasally, a little high, like he has such a baby face, which is really cute, and like curly long hair. But just like he would sing about love and life and heartbreak and being young, and I was young, and it felt very like, yeah, this is for me.
Yeah. Aw.
But then at some point I felt like I just kind of outgrew his music, and I kind of put his albums up on a metaphorical shelf, and I would just listen to them, and especially just certain songs, like when I needed like a really strong nostalgia hit. So that's why when I saw this single come out, which is called Dollar Store, featuring Waxahachie, I had to check it out, and I was immediately smitten.
Call it a day, walking away. We hide, so we stay inside.
The song felt really grown up, raw, and showed a marked change in Kweller, which I knew came at a heavy price. But before I get any further, are you familiar with Ben Kweller, Christine?
This is the first time I've heard of him. I mean, obviously when you shared the song with me, it was the first time. Immediately and I don't know if this is wrong to say, but I thought of Nirvana. Does that seem within reason? I mean, that's what
this song for sure.
Okay. And then I was curious. So I listened to the song. I saw the video, of course. It's quite touching, and the lyrics, they move me. It's well written, but that rawness of his voice, and it had that garage band feel to it.
Yeah.
But like in a very real way. And I liked it. Not enough to like want to listen to more. I was curious about the rest of the album, but like I don't know. I haven't listened to anything else of his.
Totally. Yeah. And I think it's interesting because like, I think if I were to go back maybe 10 years and ask, I don't know, 15 of my friends, and maybe these are like Texas friends, I feel like 9 out of 10 people I know would know him, but I just kind of wonder if that's like very unique to Texas because of like some of his music. It feels very, I don't know, to me, location based. But I have followed his career for a long time, and because of that, I knew that he actually endured a horrific tragedy, and in 2023, his 16-year-old son, Dorian, was killed in a freak car accident. So this is part of what I think I was aware of, knowing that he put out a new song. Like I was imagining right away, oh my gosh, this is going to have a much different feeling to it than his previous work.
Wow.
And my heart just like ached so deeply for him knowing this information, because Dorian was actually following in his dad's footsteps. He had his own band, Zev, which was his middle name, and he was starting to get a lot of attention. Like he was even going to play South by Southwest a month after his fatal accident, which of course he was never able to do. But knowing all of this, I knew this album was going to be like heavy, sad, and probably have a really marked change from his often, very fun and lighthearted albums that I used to love listening to. So I couldn't actually wait. It was a single, and that was released in February, and then the full album was released in May, so just a couple of weeks ago. This album has a few singles with some, I think, really cool guest features. So I mentioned that Waxahachie is on Dollar Store. He's got Coconut Records, which is Jason Schwartzman's band.
I love that band.
Yeah.
Surprise. Yeah.
And it's actually like, I like that song. It's a good one. I would recommend checking that one out, but I don't know if it's your style.
No, the one that they collaborated with on this album, I listened to it. But I prefer the MJ
Lenderman. Yeah. You did listen to that one?
Yes, I did.
Aren't
you impressed? I listened to the entire album.
Yeah. No, I didn't think you did listen to the entire album.
No, I mean, quickly. I did listen. Sorry if that wasn't clear. I did listen to it. I mean, I skipped through. I haven't listened to other things. Got it. But I like to, if I'm kind of curious about something and I'm liking it, I will see if there's other things that I respond to. And, my tastes are very specific, so.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm aware of that. That's why I actually didn't expect you to listen to much of this, so I'm very impressed. Yeah, these features were really cool, and I think a lot of the songs with the guests are some of my favorite songs on the album. Even the one with the Flaming Lips is very cool as well. So this album really is like, it's really personal, and even as Kweller said himself, he needed to make music because it was the only way, this is his quote, the only way I could find peace in my earth-shattering grief. Even the album's name, Cover the Mirrors, is a reference to the Jewish tradition of sitting Shiva when a family mourns the dead.
I'm looking for some motivation. I don't know what I'm looking for. She's sparking up a conversation, telling me that she's bored.
So I am really heartbroken to know this comeback is born out of horrific tragedy, but I'm just like really impressed by his capability to take grief and turn it into something beautiful that will probably resonate with thousands of listeners and just give them an opportunity to maybe find solace in a tragedy that they may have experienced themselves. And yeah, that closing track with MJ Lenderman, Oh Dorian, it's a beautiful tribute from father to a son who died too soon. I'm like feeling sad talking about her.
No, and it gives, now like hearing this story, like it makes me want to re-listen to the album knowing this, and I think I'll appreciate it even more.
Yeah, it's like, it's clear how loved this young person was. And it's just, it's an incredible example of using just like your really intense emotions to find a way out of darkness. And he's actually, Ben Kweller is on tour this summer. So if any of our LA listeners are interested, he's actually playing at one of my favorite venues, the Troubadour, in July. So I wish I could go, but I'll drop a link to the tickets in our show notes so people could check it out. But yeah, this was to me like a really personal, maybe that's just it. It was a personal comeback for me, for an artist who was very important to me at one point. And it just shows like for him an incredible amount of growth and growth as a musician. And also I think acknowledging my own, you know, I have literally aged, but also probably my interests have aged as well. So sheesh. I know that was a little heavy, Christine.
I love heavy though.
Yeah.
The range of emotions. We gotta deal with it all.
It's nice to be human, even
exactly.
Even though it can be really hard sometimes too. Okay. Wow. What's your comeback story?
So first, do you mind if I share the runner-up for my comeback?
I never mind.
So that was Buena Vista Social Club. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. Have you seen this documentary?
Honestly, I think I have like a really long time ago. Yeah, considering it came out in 99. If I haven't seen the whole thing, I've seen some of it.
Okay. So it follows Ry Cooder, and he travels to Havana to record an album with legendary Cuban musicians, many of whom had been retired or forgotten. And it's really about like their lives and stories and their rediscovery by a global audience. So yeah, I actually saw Buena Vista Social Club, I think in the early 2000s in Irvine, of all places. It was a really exciting concert and just like, you know, very emotional because again, it's this comeback and these older like legends of Cuban music are just performing like just rock stars in a way.
I mean, and I think probably a lot of people saw them as very revered and respected and kind of almost like awe-inspiring.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was, and such an exciting moment. But there's another comeback I've been thinking a lot about, and that's the Ethiopian musician Girma Bèyènè, and especially his song Nkanyele Labesh, which roughly translates to "You are flawless." This version of the song is from his 2017 comeback album, Mistakes on Purpose. And that's the 30th volume of the Ethiopic series, which features reimagined versions of Bèyènè's classic compositions like Musikawi Silt. And that means musical style. And I gotta say, it's like the essence of musical style. And I'm sure you've heard it before. And we'll definitely be linking that in our show notes.
Yeah, I would like to revisit it.
Oh, you know it.
I'm pretty impressed by your capability. If anyone could see how this word is spelled, I have to assume Christine said it properly, but it is impressive.
I try to do a pronunciation check on things.
Comes with the job.
Yeah, it does come with the job. But no, so anyway, I first heard this song on a French news program in like 2020. It was the early days of the pandemic, so I was overwhelmed and distressed, kind of like now. And the song brought me so much joy. So these days, I just find myself listening to it over and over again, probably for like that same reason, like needing that very specific kind of joy. And it's not just the song, it's the person singing. Could you hear the warmth in his voice? I remember you liking it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's something about it, like, and I don't know how old he was when he recorded this, but there is something about the recording that I listened to that feels kind of like an older man singing and like a lot of passion.
Yeah.
But you can tell that, if I'm right, I hope I'm not wrong, but just like you can tell that he's lived
Oh,
life.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard. I was actually trying to find his exact age, and it sounds like he's 75 right now. So when this comeback happened, maybe he was in his like late 60s, I think. But the song was actually first released in 1969 as a single in Ethiopia.
Oh, wow.
And it's about an Ethiopian woman who means more to the singer than anything else, including like his country, wealth, life. Bèyènè has said all his songs are about his wife, and more on that in a second. Bèyènè is a self-taught pianist. He arranged over 60 tracks, but Nkanyele Labesh was one of the few songs he was a vocalist for, which is I don't know, strange to me because he does have such a beautiful voice, but he was like really doing the arranging and working with like a lot of other amazing Ethiopian artists. But in 1981, during a U.S. tour with the Ethiopian jazz funk group Walias Band, Bèyènè and 3 other members decided not to go back to Ethiopia, which was under the Derg military regime at the time.
Wow.
And I don't know like the story of how that worked out, like legally and all that, but he and a bunch of other Ethiopian musicians settled, and obviously there's like a big diaspora community, but Bèyènè settled in the DC area and didn't play music for nearly 30 years.
Damn.
Now, do you remember in our 8th episode on instrumental songs that could have been radio hits?
Of course.
Okay, so I talked about the documentary Ethiopic Revolt of the Soul.
I do remember.
So much of that documentary actually focuses on Bèyènè and his desire to have a comeback. And he also talks about why he left music. And there's this just such a beautiful moment in the documentary. And he's kind of looking down and looks up and he says, in 1984, my girl died. And he calls her his girl, and you can see the pain in his eyes. And he talks about it as if it just happened. Like not almost 30 years had gone by. And so he was just so devastated by his wife's death. He quit music and he raised his daughter. Most of the time he worked as a gas station attendant.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So he's just such a compelling character, and the other musicians in the documentary talk about him with such love and admiration, but they also note he wasn't meant to be a musician because he couldn't hustle. And they all, like, you can see how much they admire him and care for him. It's really cute. But he was just heartbroken by his wife's death. And anytime he talks, you see that, and it's very heartwarming. But Bèyènè is the subject of another documentary in 2021 that's all about his comeback, and that's called My Beautiful Girma. And that's also a must watch, which we'll have in the show notes.
Nice.
So the documentary gets more into the details about how Francis Falsetto, again, also mentioned in our 8th episode. So he was the one who started the Ethiopic series of albums. So Francis connects Bèyènè with the French Ethiopian jazz band Akale Wube for the big comeback. And the whole album is absolutely amazing. But Enkenyele the Besh is the song I keep returning to.
وزارة إثيوبيا من تتبكيالش ፍጹም ኢትዮጵያዊት.
The original version from 1969 is on volume 8 of Ethiopic, which was released in 2000. And that's more of a compilation of Ethiopian music. It's called Swinging Addis, and also required listening for anyone wanting to learn more about the golden age of Ethiopian music. And I will include a catalog of all the Ethiopic series because I'm obsessed with it.
It's good. It's good to have healthy obsession.
No, for sure. And really, I feel like I'm only scratching the surface here because Bèyènè's story is intertwined with so many other Ethiopian legends who, I don't know, we'll probably talk about in future episodes. But if you're at all interested, please go back to episode 8 for a refresher of the Ethiopic series.
I do want to watch it now, the documentary,
please.
just because you've talked about it twice. And like, I'm fascinated by this era, and especially learning now that, you know, some of these musicians were essentially self-exiling.
Yeah.
Is so interesting.
No, and to see what they did after. Some of them continued to play music. Some of them own nightclubs. And some of them have gone back to Ethiopia after the fall of the regime. Yeah, you get a little bit of that in the Revolt of the Soul. You get a little bit of that in My Beautiful Girma, focuses on the comeback, but also gives you some history and some great performances.
Yeah, I love it. I'm thinking this is a really beautiful comeback. I like that both of our comebacks were so different.
Very, very different, but also, I think, I don't know, in a weird way, shaped by heartbreak and their voices. Like, that's what I noted about the voice in Ben's music too. It's like, it's very authentic.
Yes.
Or earnest.
Same with Girma.
Right.
Yeah. That is what I was picking up on as well with him. You're right. Authentic is a really good word because it's kind of one of those ones that you're listening and it doesn't feel, there's no affect to it. It's just, I'm singing from my soul.
Exactly. And I think that's ultimately what makes the best comebacks is where you sing from the soul. And we need more of that, especially in these times.
God damn it, Christine, you're too good. Yes, let's have a comeback.
Okay.
I don't know what yet, but I'm ready.
Well, we'll think of something.
Democracy.
Please come back.
Okay, well, Christine, since we are coming back next week, what theme do you have for us?
We are going to be collaborative.
That's one thing I really appreciate about you.
Thanks for listening to Stereo Thematica. If you are still listening, you must like us, so please consider a review, a rating, or sharing with a friend.
And subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on Instagram, where you can share your most epic musical comebacks.
And visit stereothematica.blog for more fun.